Carboxylic acids are important class of functional groups and they do get the most priority among IUPAC nomenclature. So when you have a carboxylic acid, that will determine which is your carbon 1. We look into basic ways of synthesis of carboxylic acid. Now the first couple of them are extremely simple. We have seen them as reactions of other functional group. We can look into oxidation of primary alcohol and also oxidation of aldehydes will give you the corresponding COOH. What all can we use for this is K2Cr2O7, KMnO4. We can also use Jones reagent. Now the advantage with Jones reagent compared to K2Cr2O7 and KMnO4 is Jones reagent does not affect a double bond or triple bond present in the molecule. So if there is a molecule given and you want to convert just the alcohol or aldehyde group present in the molecule and not touch the double or triple bond present elsewhere in the molecule, then you use Jones reagent. Otherwise, these are going to give extremely good results. When it comes to ketones, vigorous oxidation of this can cleave the ketonic bond, which is actually very stable, and give you the corresponding acids. Now, does it cleave here or does it cleave here? It will depend on what type of R and R prime groups are attached. You don't have that in your syllabus. If at all they give you, then just count the number of carbons, and either if there is a cleavage here, then you can count out what is going to be here. That is too simple for you. But these are the basic ways of oxidizing any given compound in the corresponding acid. Another way of oxidizing is side chain oxidation. This is particular to synthesize benzoic acid from alkyl benzenes. So if you have an alkyl benzene, if you oxidize with K2Cr2O7, you will get benzoic acid. Couple of things you want to know is the length of the R group doesn't really matter. If there is 2 carbon, 3 carbon, 5 carbon, it will just completely go away and give you just 1 carbon, COOH. That's one. So you want to know that length of R not important. Now the second thing you want to know is R is either 1 degree or 2 degree. If it's 3 degree, it doesn't oxidize to give you the benzoic acid. So these are the ways in which you can get the acid counterpart from the corresponding aldehyde, ketone or alkyl group by oxidation methods. Now that we saw the oxidation methods, next let's look into how we can get the acids from hydrolysis. Now here multiple functional groups can give you acid. We'll go in sequence. The first is esters. So reverse of esterification reaction, because esterification is reversible, meaning we can also look at as esters as reactant, giving you the corresponding acids and alcohol as product. This can be catalyzed by an acid or a base. Similarly, your esterification can be catalyzed by an acid or a base. We can do the same. What we want to remember is if it is catalyzed by an acid, you will get an acid, carboxylic acid here. If it catalyzed by a base, you will get the carboxylate ion here, RCOOH versus RCOO minus. But otherwise, this is too simple. The next we can do is nitrile group. The nitrile group can be converted using H plus ROH minus to give RC double bond O NH2, which further hydrolyzes to give you RCOOH plus NH3. Now I can use cold dilute HCl to stop at this stage and stop with an amide if I want, or if I use strong oxidizing conditions, then I go all the way to the corresponding acid. So if I use again H plus, similar to here, if I use H plus medium, I get acid. If I use OH minus, I get the carboxylate ion. Now, needless to say, then I also can start with RCONH2 to get your RCOOH. The next we can do is acid halides or acyl halides. I can do the same and I get the same product, not much of a difference. We can also do anhydrides we can get RCOOH. The difference here is when acid chloride or anhydride is used, we don't actually need H+, just water is good enough to give you the corresponding acid. In basic medium, if you do use the basic medium, you will get the corresponding carboxylate as always. So these are the couple of ways where you can convert your one functional group into an acid functional group. Now you want to remember them in sequence, that way you don't miss any of them. The last way of getting an acid through hydrolysis, maybe we can number them so you know how many reactions are possible. When you use trihalides, for example, RCX3. When you replace a dihalide, we saw that we can get an aldehyde or a ketone. Here, trihalide, you can replace and get triol, which is unstable. A gem diol is unstable, a gem triol is going to be extremely unstable. We saw that a gem diol eliminates a molecule of water. Imagine doing the same here. So I will end up getting R, C. This becomes double bond O after, and this OH gets retained. So I get RCOOH. So this is another way of getting an acid. One of the powerful reagents in organic chemistry is Grignard's reagent. We saw how many different compounds can be synthesized based on Grignard's reagent. We can also get an acid through Grignard's reagent. We react RMgX with CO2. We have seen this before. The C double bond O can be attacked. This will give you the corresponding RCOOH. This is extremely straightforward. Now, what you want to remember is this is a step up reaction. Whatever acid you want, go one less carbon in the R group. So, Grignard's reagent is extremely simple to synthesize. So, look at it this way. I want R group attached to COOH. That R can be arrived from here alkyl halides. So, start with an alkyl halide, put Mg ether, you get corresponding Grignard's reagent. That Grignard's reagent with a weak electrophile will give you corresponding acid. This is extremely straightforward synthesis. One other way of synthesis of an acid which you have seen in your reactions of alkenes or an alkyne. So here and there are two hydrogen atoms. I am not showing you that. You are expected to know that the hydrogens don't have to be shown. It just looks simpler. We can use acidified potassium permanganate and heat, or alkaline and heat. So, acidified potassium permanganate or acidified dichromate is extremely strong. Alkaline is not all that strong. So, if you use alkaline, we want heat. What will happen when you have a double bond? We get a diol, Bayes reagent, test for a diol. We saw that before. That was dilute condition. This is strong condition. You break the bond completely. Just like ozonolysis, except in ozonolysis you get a ketone or an aldehyde. Here you get the corresponding acids. So you get the corresponding RCOOH and R prime COOH. These are extremely straightforward, no loss of carbon. So all you have to do is just be clever and say, okay, I'm going to break these two bonds, make them COOH, COOH. Just like ozonolysis, just a step up from ozonolysis. We can also do the same from ozonolysis. Ozonolysis, first step is formation of a ozonoid, and then we use zinc, that is reductive. If you do oxidative ozonolysis, you will get the corresponding RCOOH. Oxidative ozonolysis is not in your syllabus, only reductive. So, anytime ozonolysis comes, watch out for zinc. These are the ways one can prepare acid from the functional groups that we already know. Moving on from synthesis of acids, let's look into the physical properties of carboxylic acid. Carboxylic acid in general, the lower members up to C9 are colorless liquids and they do have a unpleasant odor, the smell. For example, if you have smelled vinegar, you would know. And when you go higher in chain, if you go beyond 10 carbons, what happens? The hydrophobic tail becomes longer and longer, and so it becomes, molecular weight becomes very high, so it becomes a solid. And higher chain carboxylic acid, a solid example, the best example in India would be lauric acid. Lauric acid is present in near coconuts and it's mostly present as a solid form, right? So that's more than enough in terms of your phase of acids. The most important property of acids you want to know is their tendency to form hydrogen bonding. They have both the criteria for hydrogen bonding. They have an hydrogen attached to an electronegative atom, so their hydrogen can hydrogen bond, and also they have an electronegative atom present which can be the one that donates the electron for hydrogen bonding. So acids have both the conditions satisfied, so they can actually form hydrogen bonding among themselves and also with water. They can form hydrogen bonding very strongly among themselves. Because of that, their boiling points are much higher than aldehydes, ketones, alkanes and even alcohols. Alcohols do have hydrogen bonding but not as strong as acids. So acids boiling point is much higher. Their hydrogen bonding is so strong that even in vapor phase, most of the acids exist as dimer. So if you write an acid, even in vapor phase, this is what we are going to see. It exists as a dimer. And also carboxylic acid, important point you want to know, they exist as a dimer in benzene solution. So in vapor phase they exist as a dimer, in water they don't exist as a dimer, but in benzene they exist as a dimer. If they exist as a dimer, in solution chapter the I value is 0.5 because 100 molecule becomes 50 molecules if they exist as a dimer 100%. But percentage of association could be different. We will deal with that in solution chapter. Okay, so this is something you want to know, and also based on this, we can also say carboxylic acid can also form hydrogen bonding with water. Because of that, carboxylic acids are much more soluble in water compared to the corresponding aldehydes, ketones or phenols even. So this is something where the solubility you want to know, and the solubility is directly related to the acidity of the molecule. So the longer the R chain, meaning the hydrophobic tail, the longer the R chain, the hydrophobicity increases, hydrophilicity decreases. Hydrophobic means they don't like water. So the longer the R, the lesser the solubility. So the higher order carboxylic acid are less soluble in water compared to lower order. For example, you take acetic acid, vinegar, you might have it in your refrigerator. You put it in water, it is soluble. Whereas you take higher order, for example, even coconut oil, for example, if it is soluble, if you put coconut, it should have been dissolved in water, but not really so, because the hydrophobic tail plays a major part. Right? These are the basic properties that you want to know about carboxylic acid in terms of physical properties. When it comes to chemical properties, I want to segment it separately. First thing I want to do is deal with acidity of acids separately. It's an extremely important concept. Acidity of COOH. So the COOH is basically an acid group. We already know that. Now this acid group is influenced by the R group. The R group here, if it is electron withdrawing, so we can write it this way: electron withdrawing COOH and electron donating group COOH. Now electron withdrawing, the more I withdraw, this carbon will be more electronegative, so it will withdraw more from this oxygen. Because of that, it will be much more acidic compared to electron donating. Imagine that the carbon the oxygen wants to donate electron so that it can take electron away from your hydrogen. It donates inside. The more the electronegativity of this carbon, the more this can happen. It's better not to put it this way, better put it this way. So, the more it is able to pull, the higher the acidity will be. But what if it is electron donating group? It is enriching this carbon, meaning this carbon cannot take electron from oxygen, meaning this oxygen cannot take electron from this hydrogen. So, acidity decreases. So, acidity would be of this order, and this is just right in the middle. So, if in the R group, if I attach electron withdrawing group like your CN, NO2, halides, etc., it will be electron withdrawing. Electron donating would be R group. Okay. This is the basic property. Now, you have to remember which is better in terms of minus I, in terms of trend. What if there is more than one X group? What if there is 3 X group? What if it is fluorine versus chlorine? You need to remember this. It's something where they can ask you in a question, arrange them in the order or which is the most acidic. So, here is a list of things that are given in your CBSE book. This is more than enough, but do not try to memorize the whole trend. If you see the trend, both of these are much more electronegative compared to your halogens. Now, pay particular attention to the trihalide versus dihalide versus monohalide and also fluorine versus chlorine versus bromine, and you will start getting an idea. And also electron donating group, if you see OCH3 and all will pump the electrons inside so that they decrease it. A special mention has to be done for the acidity of benzoic acid. So, if you draw benzoic acid, the effect that you are going to see from this group attached to COOH is purely going to be minus I. Minus R is not going to be possible, plus R is not going to be possible. The reason because for acidity we are focused on this particular bond. Okay. This oxygen takes electron to itself. So, let's say there is a minus charge. This minus charge is not in resonance with the ring because for resonance you need to have a minus charge, single bond, double bond. Here I have a minus charge, single bond, single bond. So, this minus is not in resonance with the ring. So, whatever you put in the ring, minus R and plus R is ruled out, only minus I. So, you can increase the acidity of a COOH group attached to a ring by increasing the minus I of the ring. So, you can increase the minus I of the ring by putting minus R groups if you want. Minus R groups withdraw the electron from the ring. So, the ring withdraws electron through inductive from the carbon, increasing the acidity. This minus group is actually in resonance with only this oxygen. This minus can go here and it can go here. So, the corresponding carboxylate ion you get is resonance stabilized between the two carbons. The best way of drawing that is this is the best way of drawing a carboxylate ion. It's resonance stabilized, but this resonance stabilized ion is not in resonance with the ring. The more the minus I effect of the ring, the higher the acidity. You want to remember that. The second point you want to remember is when I say very clearly here, there is no resonance between this oxygen and this ring, but there is resonance between this oxygen and this ring. This is an important point you want to remember. Look at it this way. So, what happens because of this resonance? The oxygen can withdraw electron from this carbon, the carbon can get electron. So, the ring is actually behaving as plus R to this oxygen, not this oxygen. So, to this oxygen. So, this oxygen takes electron from the ring, right? If this takes electron from the ring, it is not willing to participate in resonance with this oxygen. So, this is not going to happen much. It is going to happen, but not going to happen much, not favorable. So, the more the plus R effect of the ring, the more the electron is going to go to this oxygen, the oxygen is less willing to participate in resonance. But what happens is, when you put a bulky group in an ortho position like methyl group or NO2 group, what will happen is, imagine that this is your COOH group and this is your ring. They are in resonance. Sorry, they are in same plane. And this is your CO double bond O group. This is in resonance with the ring. But when I put a bulky group on this side, the steric interaction is going to make it very complicated for the molecule to stand in the same plane like this. Okay. It is going to make it rotate a little if there is an ortho substituent. So, because of it is going to rotate, see it is rotating away, or let us put it this way, rotating towards you. This carbon and this ring is not in the same plane, meaning they cannot be in resonance anymore. For resonance, planarity is important. So, by putting an ortho position substituent, you are breaking the planarity of this. So, the COOH is going to turn away. By putting the ortho substituent, there is no resonance between this oxygen and this ring. So, the resonance is the one that is killing our acidity. Correct? Now that I broke the resonance, ortho substituent breaks the resonance, breaks the plane, hence acidity increases. This is called ortho effect. When it comes to benzoic acid, ortho effect is extremely important. In phenol, it doesn't matter because phenol is a small group, whereas benzoic acid is a big group. It gets interacted sterically with the ortho substituent. Now, the more the ortho you have, the size, bigger the size, it is going to have much more effect because it has to turn more. And if you have two ortho group, it is going to be completely different plane. So, a normal benzoic acid is more acidic than monoortho compared to diortho. That you want to remember as ortho effect. These are the things you want to remember about acidity of acid. And now that we are in acidity, we can finish it off here. What does it mean? It will end up giving you a couple of reactions. RCOOH will react with sodium hydroxide. Just like a phenol, we saw this. Phenol with sodium gives sodium phenoxide, with sodium hydroxide gives sodium phenoxide. Similarly, an acid with sodium will give you your sodium carboxylate ion in both cases. But phenol and your acids are going to differ in one particular property. Phenol is acidic, but these are acid itself. Their acidity is extremely high. Because their acidity is extremely high, they can actually react with weak bases like Na2CO3 and NaHCO3, carbonates and bicarbonates. This is extremely important because sodium carbonate or in general carbonates and bicarbonates react with acids to give you CO2 gas. That's a test for acid. So, in essence, it is a difference between phenol and acid. Phenol will not answer test with these two. So, if you have phenol and acid, you don't know the compound that you have generated. Let's say A gives you B. B liberates CO2 with sodium bicarbonate, meaning it's an acid. B does not give you, meaning it's a phenol. If the toss-up is only between phenol and acid. So, that is something you want to remember. These reactions involve cleavage of the OH bond. Acids can give two different type of reactions, cleavage of the OH bond or cleavage of the CO bond, this carbon and this oxygen bond. Let's look into the cleavage of the CO bond. Now, looking into the reactions of the RCOOH group, we will look into the reaction of the RCO bond in particular. Now, we want to go back a little bit and look at R aldehyde, ketone, and an acid. Now, when it comes to this, we know from before that this can be delta minus, delta plus, delta minus, delta plus. Here what happens is, this can donate here, this can take. So, this can become delta plus, delta minus. So, at no point in time, the carbon in the acid group is going to be electrophilic like these two. This is always going to be neutral. So, the carbon in an acid group is always going to be neutral even in the resonating structures, because it is never going to be devoid of electron, never going to be an electrophile. Nucleophilic addition reaction that we saw, nucleophile can come and attack here or here. Remember, we can attack with Cn minus, cyanohydrin, all those. That cannot happen with your acids. So, acids cannot undergo nucleophilic addition reaction. Based on that, some of the reactions that are possible by these is not possible by your acids. although the acid is not susceptible to nucleophilic addition reaction, we can do certain reactions with the CO bond. First is chlorination. This is going to look like how you synthesized your alkyl halides from alcohol. Similarly, we are going to have here C double bond O, OH can be converted to R C double bond O, Cl. What all we can use is, we can use PCl3, PCl5, SOCl2. The products would be RCOCl plus H3PO3. In terms of PCl5, it is POCl3 plus HCl. Here it is going to be SO2 plus HCl along with, just very similar to your ROH reacting with these three. So just remember that, and again remember these two are gases. This particular reaction with SOCl2, I cannot stress the importance of that. It has come so many times in A gives you B, B gives you C, reactions like this. Imagine what all we can do with it. RCOH can be converted with SOCl2 into RCOCl, and now the RCOCl is a substrate for Friedel-Crafts acylation reaction. So hence it is extremely important. So this is chlorination. The next we can do, we don't have to write down, esterification reaction. We know that before, acid plus alcohol gives you corresponding ester plus water. It can be acid catalyzed or base catalyzed, that's one. If it's has to go successfully to the right side, we have to use Le Chatelet principle because it is a reversible reaction. We have seen that, so we don't have to do it right now. We saw that we can get acid from acid chloride. Now I showed you how to convert reverted acid to acid chloride. Similarly, we saw anhydrates can give you acid. Now we can go back to acid to anhydrate. This is nothing but dehydration. Dehydration of an acid, RCOOH, with another molecule of RCOOH can dehydrate and give you. You can also do cross dehydration with two different acids, but the product you expect is RCOOH dehydrating with itself, self dehydration, R prime COOH self dehydrating, and then these two combine. So you will get three different products. So this is what will happen when you dehydrate an acid into anhydride. Similarly, we can also convert an acid to amide. You want to remember the first reaction is, if you use an RCOOH, you convert it into RCOO minus NH4 plus. So this is going to be ammonium carboxylate. If it is acetic acid, then you will get ammonium acetate. You get this? This on heating only gives you the amide. This does not give you straight away. This is important because sometimes the reaction has come in JE veins. A gives you B, B gives you C. In A gives you B, people don't know. As soon as they see this, they think B is this and they don't know what is C. But actually this is B, this is C. You want to remember that with ammonia and heat, if it is given together, it's a one-step process. If not, it is a two-step process. Otherwise, this is extremely straightforward. One particular reaction that is important when it comes to forming an amide is when you take your benzoic acid, phthalic acid. When you do the same reaction, you get same set of process, you get CONH2, CONH2. This can be converted into phthalic acid, phthalimide. The phthalimide is important because it is going to come later in an amines chapter. Gabriel phthalimide synthesis for synthesis of an amine, and it's an important synthesis. Now this can be arrived from your phthalic acid. Now how can we get phthalic acid based on the reactions we know? For example, I can start with orthoxylene, do side chain oxidation, so it becomes phthalic acid, and then you can do phthalimide, and you can go back to your amines functional group. The next set of reactions, always in organic chemistry, we try to do oxidation, but carboxylic acid is already an oxidized product. Now we can do further oxidation of carboxylic acid. Only one type of oxidation is possible, complete oxidation to give you CO2 and H2O. So we don't have to write it down, that's a mole concept question. Now we can do reduction of carboxylic acid. Carboxylic acid can be reduced to RCH2OH. So primary alcohol. Primary alcohol can be converted to acid with oxidizing agent. This is reducing agent. Now what all can be reduced? We can use lithium aluminum hydride, extremely good reducing agent. Also you can do diborane. Diborane is extremely useful because diborane does not affect your amides and esters but only converts your acid, whereas this will affect your amide as well. This is extremely good. One important point I want to make sure is this does not react because this is a weak reducing agent, this is a strong reducing agent. So we can get the reduced product. One more we can do is something we have already seen. Acids can become alkanes when you do soda lime. We have seen this in our alkane lecture, decarboxylation reaction. So this is extremely simple. Now other reactions that are possible by acid is coal-based electrolysis. We have seen this before. I can use it to synthesize alkane, alkene or alkyne. Alkane, we have done this in your hydrocarbon lecture. So go back to that and look into it. I'll just do a brief recap. I start with the carboxylic acid, I get an alkane. I start with a dicarboxylic acid, I get an alkene. And then there is a double bond already in there, it becomes an alkyne. If you do not know what I am saying right now, meaning you have to go back to that lecture and look into it. So this is also an important reaction of your carboxylic acid. Another reaction very peculiar to acid is something you might have seen regardless of your state board or CBSE, is Hell-Volhard-Zelinsky reaction. Basically you have your acids which have alpha hydrogen present. So again the key here is, this is an acid group, this is the alpha carbon, there has to be an alpha hydrogen present. When it's treated with red phosphorescent X2, here X2 is Cl2 or Br2, you get this is again an alpha carbon, alpha halo acid. This is a straightforward reaction. Now this can be alpha halo or IUPAC 1 halo chloro or bromo. Accordingly, remember that this is an important reaction. This happens because the alpha hydrogen is extremely acidic, so you can do this. Now this has come straightforward. They might ask you what is being used or what is a product. The last set of reactions that are important for carboxylic acid is something we have seen before. When you have a COOH group are attached to a ring, two types of properties. I can talk about acidity of this one, or I can talk about electrophilic aromatic substitution reactions. Acidity we just saw a while back. Now you want to remember that phenols are acidic. Substituted phenols with minus R group are even more acidic, but still those are acidic. This is acid itself. So a benzoic acid is going to be much stronger. Now you want to remember the acidic order. I have already given that to you. Here is also an example of the order that you want to remember. Be very careful. You have to remember the particular order. Try to understand it and remember so you don't forget or confuse yourself. Let's look into the electrophilic aromatic substitution, EAS with an electrophile. Acid group is a minus R minus I group, meaning extremely deactivating. Because it is deactivating, it is going to be substituted in the meta position only. You are not going to get ortho or para because of this. If at all you want to remember the order, it is going to be meta much greater than para greater than ortho, because ortho feels minus I. So here I have minus R, minus I feel it. Here only minus I, that too far away from COOH, because minus I decreases with distance. Here I feel minus R, minus I is almost 0, let's call it, almost negligible. So meta is much greater compared to my para, which is much greater than my ortho. You want to remember this. Okay, this is going to play a huge role in terms of here. Find the product you want to synthesize. What if I want to synthesize a compound where there is ortho or para substituent to COOH? What all can we do? We will see in the A to B, B to C reaction. There are other ways to do it. I can convert it to amide and do. Okay. But you want to remember this order. These are the reactions of carboxylic acid. So hence we have seen in this lecture the synthesis, properties and reactions of carboxylic acid. It's an important class of functional group. You want to remember. Also, make sure you start learning from your IUPAC naming. Get the names right, then go to your preparation, and the preparations are actually reactions of other functional group. Similarly, reactions of COOH turns out to be preparation of different other functional groups. Now, once you finish organic chemistry, you will actually see that they are all connected. Those are not separate chapters, it's just one big chapter, organic chemistry. Right after this, we will be finishing amines chapter as well. Once we finish amines, organic is over. Now we have, after that, I will be solving a lot of A gives you B, B gives you C problems.